Oh. We are actually live streaming this presentation as well. So I believe that 30 hopefully that are great. So if you can hear us out there, the only way you can communicate is via the chat on YouTube. Put it in the chat and we'll get it off and then might be able to also live stream. So speaker tonight is Greg England, our members. Processing them predominantly in pixel size. Yeah, and a bit of SHO at the end. Great, thank you very much. Thanks, Lee. So I've just this is how I started. Luke on he's a YouTuber, Madico. Luke Madico. He put me onto. He came up with combining the green and the blue channel using a dual band filter and making a sort of an SHO palette. And then I think a friend of his, Bill Blanchard, wrote one of the early scripts, and he's developed it. And now it's actually a tool within PixInsight. So it doesn't quite get you an SHO image, but it's not a HOO image either, because it's not blue and red. It has got the yellow in it. Anyway, I'll just go through. We've just got a bit of a slide presentation, and then we'll hop into PixInsight and we'll do an example. So I've just got a few pluses for a one-shot color camera. I do shoot mono, so I'm not pro to a one-shot color camera, but they are fairly simple to set up. You don't have to worry about your filters. It's good if you've got limited clear skies, because you can image for half an hour and get an image, whereas if you're shooting all your filters, you may miss out on one due to cloud or whatever. If you just use a dual band filter, you can get a good one-shot, an RGB image, and you can also transfer it and make it a semi-SHO image. And if you use two dual band filters and you take the HO and the SO, you can actually create a good SHO image. And overall, they're probably a bit less expensive to set up than a mono setup, because I mean, you pay about $2,000 just for good quality filters. How much are the chroma ones, Lee? The filters. Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I'm very conscious of this microphone. Okay, so I've got a few examples up there. So at the moment, you can get a dual band set for around $300 Australian from AliExpress, or if you want to go for the super no halo and they're slightly narrower band pass, they're about $860. Or you can go for your Antlia, and you're still looking at over $1,000 for a S2 and a O3 and a HA03. So I've found that the narrower the band passes, the better. So that this process doesn't work well with a light pollution filter or a tri-band filter. You really need a dual band filter. And I find this script actually works best on stretched images. So way to put it together, you can, using the HA03 and the S203, you can actually, there's a few ways to do it. I've seen a few guys on YouTube, they'll combine both the green and the blue of both filters and then just divide by 4 using pixel maths. Or a few people actually split it up and they'll use it at like 0.3 of the blue and 0.7 of the green of both, just to give a different color mix. But I mean, pixel maths, you can just experiment. But that'll actually give you a true S2, HA and an O3, and then you'd use, and they'd produce mono images, and you'd use a SHO processing to get the best out of those. And if you didn't have one and you just had an S2 filter, you could just put the S2 filter on the one-shot color camera and shoot the S2 signal. Yeah, yep, yep, yep. So this one's just an example I did with the version 5 script that Bill wrote. You can see up there, you could change a few of the options in the pixel maths. You could change the brightness of the O3 boost and the luminance and the blend mode. I found they worked well on default, but a lot of the time the O3 would be blown out. The best way to overcome this, I found, was to actually, when you're stretching the image, I used very careful stretch, use masks, and try and make the image as flat as possible. If where the O3 one was too bright, it'd just blow out. It'd just be white. So stretching is important. There's a few more examples. So the Seagull Nebula stretches, it turns into an SHO image really well. And Corinna, not so well, but you get some nice colours there. This is Bill's new script. So that's found in process, narrowband normalisation, in all processes, narrowband normalisation. So you can actually choose the different palettes there, HOO, SHO, HSO, HOS. For this example, I just use the HOO because that's what it is. The blend mode, we'll get into that. And there's all, you can change the O3 boost, you can reduce the brightness of the highlights, you can increase the shadows and stuff. So it's a lot more interactive just than the drag and drop of the old script. So. Preview. Yep, yep. 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 Yep, yep. So I stretched, this is just a dual band one-shot color of the tarantula and surround. So I stretched this just with just linear stretch. And then I tried to bring back the brightness of the tarantula because it's so bright. I tried to make it as flat as possible. And then I ran the script basically in default. I might have adjusted the highlight a bit. This is a bit of it's different to the one I'll be showing. I'll do the Seagull Nebula in PixInsight, but I did this one because it's not quite, the tarantula is not blue. There's not a lot of oxygen. It's a very white. I just wanted to give it a different effect to the first image. So I applied the script, then I applied a blue mask, and I just dropped the red in the curves. Then I applied a red mask, and I increased the red. So that gave me, basically it was looking a lot better. And then I got the original one-shot color image, and using pixel maths, I just merged it with the one I produced to produce a bit of an amalgamation of both. And then I mucked around trying different degrees, like 1.5 or 1, half a 1, and until I got the color that I thought was quite good. So there's the original one-shot color, and the other one's just using a bit of the SHO and a bit of the one-shot color to produce something just a bit different. And that turned out quite well. Pardon? I think that's with the Mac Newt 190, so that's 1000 mm f5.3 with an APS-C sensor. Yeah, yeah, you can choose like the, yeah. What else was it? And there's just some examples. So the one on the left's actually one-shot color, and the one on the right's actually SHO. And that's a bit unfair because the one on the right's actually double the focal length, but the one on the left's taken with the RASA, just with a dual band, and applied Bill's script, and the one on the right's taken with the Esprit, and that's an SHO image.
With that normalisation script, where do you put in, where do you import the
No,
softbox. You don't.
no.
It'll just automatically
Yeah.
translate the image regardless of what.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, right, right.
I'll look at that
YouTube's your friend,
again.
Richard. Ask YouTube. Gonna work. Open sesame.
So if I took any of my images,
Yeah,
put it through that, would it work?
that are finished.
Yeah, that I've completed one-shot colour images.
Um,
Can you do a translation?
you probably, if you, not that much, because once you cook it, go away.
Has the Bill Blanchard narrowband normalisation setting?
That comes with it.
It's
That,
in the program.
it is, well, it did. Right, I'll just try and find where I've hidden stuff. 30 days, what have I got here? I'll just open all of them. Right. Cool. Cool. Right. Where do all my process icons go? They're off the page because I'm connected to that big screen. Now to fix that, Eugene. Oh, you can? Okay. Look at all these lovely scripts I've got down. Is that just, it's just resizing, is it? I've lost that. Here we go. Right. So this is a one-shot color. I've basically just stretched it with that easy stretch. I just
It's not bad,
the easy processing suite, the soft stretch.
Yeah, that works quite well.
Yep. And then I've just tweaked it, and then I've applied a. Well, I didn't actually have to apply any mask to this because the seagull's a nice flat image. So processes, where it is. Narrowband normalisation. So here's Bill's script. So just default settings, it looks not too bad.
How long was the exposure time?
It might have been something like 33-minute exposures
33 minutes.
at f2. So you can have a bit of a play around with the palettes. That to me looks more like HOO, but this is saying SHO because I think it's looking for an SHO image. You can adjust the blend amount, so if I dial that back, it looks more like a HOO image.
So what have you actually done?
Stretched it and removed the stars, and cropped it and applied blur exterminator, noise exterminator, exterminators. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't think you wanted to see all that, and plus it takes probably half an hour to do it all. So this blend mode just lets you. I think that's. See, it's gone really purple. I think the default's actually quite good. You've got a few adjustments here. You can actually boost the O3. You can reduce the highlights if it's blown out a bit, but this one's actually quite good. And you can play around the brightness, but I think the default's actually, I quite like the colour in that. So at this point, okie doke.
So you could apply that to any
Yep.
if you wanted to.
Yep.
Just a standard sulfur one.
If you had a sulfur, yeah. So if you had a HaO3 and a sulfur O3, you wouldn't use this. You'd actually separate the channels out. You'd keep the red of the HA as your H alpha channel. You'd keep the red of the sulfur as your sulfur channel, and then you'd amalgamate the blue and greens together to produce your O3, and then you'd process it as a narrowband black and white image. But yeah, so this is just, if I would have had a S2O3 filter and some clear nights, I could have actually experimented with it, but I went and got a mono setup. I nearly went and purchased a S2O3, but once I got the mono set up, I didn't really see the point. But if you're a big fan of one-shot colour and you want to have a bit more of a play around, I'd definitely recommend. I mean, for $300, you can get the S2 and the HA. It just gives you a bit more of a scope for imaging targets.
That's the Antilla.
That was ASCAR. Yeah. But the higher end ones, like the slightly narrower band, like more like your L Extreme and no halo, they're a bit dearer. They're like up at $800 for a set. Yeah. So, right. So, does everyone use masks? Yep. You know how to create a colour mask? Yeah, so Bill's actually also produced colour mask scripts, which you can just download, and you just drag them to your desktop and save them as icons. Or now within PixInsight, I think it's under Utilities Colour Mask mod. That'll actually bring you up a little preview, and you can actually select on the colour you want to make a mask of, and it'll bring up roughly where you've clicked. And then you can say, well, I actually want to get there. Well, I know why. That's basically produced a blue mask. And you'd want to actually blur that, and I think blur, everything's lost. Mask blur, blast. So this just does like a Gaussian blur, and then you can apply that blue mask to the image. And mask off, and I mainly just use curves. If you want to increase the blue, decrease the red. So basically, this is pretty rough, but I did that, and then I applied a yellow mask. What? That's the preview. Yeah. Get rid of the mask. Okay. So I did the same thing with the colour mask script and produced a yellow mask. Using curves again. Using the green channel. So here's where you can make the highlights go red or yellow and make the lower tones go red or yellow. So you can actually add a bit of contrast to the image. Less is more. I mean, it's just whatever palette you're trying to, like decreasing the blue gives you back a bit more of that yellow. And I just haven't done any contrast. I've still got the mask on. So I'll take the yellow mask off, so now I'm just working on the entire image. Just want to brighten it up and just give it a bit of contrast. So you know when you're working on the curves, you can just, if you click, it'll basically roughly tell where you are on the, so sometimes if I just want to stretch a portion, I'll just, it almost does a bit like the GHS sort of. So with a few simple clicks, I've lost it. Where'd it go? Well, don't know where the original image went. I think I changed it. And the stars I extracted earlier, so input. I just like I call everything image 8. I call everything image 8 because when I go to add stars, image 8. And I haven't stretched the stars, so there's a problem.
So do most people not stretch the stars? If it's inside or
I normally remove them unstretched, and then I stretch them to suit my taste of how bright I want the stars. Sometimes you brighten them up and it sort of gives the image a bit more depth. Sometimes you want to reduce them to make the nebula stand out a bit more. I mean, sometimes I'll do 3 or 4 different stretches of them and add them to the image and see what they look like. As long as I'm not actually affecting the star shape and stuff.
star reduce?
Blur exterminator reduces them enough. And if I don't if I don't stretch them a lot,
Use the standard default reduction.
yeah. In Blur exterminator, I just run that all default, and then I just once I've stretched the stars, I just give them a little bit of saturation. Make sure there's no green. I always use the SNR and remove all the green.
Yeah,
You never use it?
I don't need it. I don't need it because
You don't get green?
the green goes away. You know, once you do everything, you see the green only if you stretch it with liquid channels. If you only
Yeah. Okay. So where's the original? Is that it? Yeah. Okay. forgot the desktop screen changes on this thing. So that didn't take long at all, and we've gone from a one-shot colour to a pseudo SHO image. We can have a look at another one. Got no idea which one's which. Ah, that's right. I went a bit nuts on one of these. Yeah, this one. That's at 2,000 mils with the C11 with a reducer on it. So with an APS-C sensor. So yeah, this one I really tried to bring out that's the original image. And I ended up with that one, which I didn't think was too bad. But then I wanted a bit more contrast, like on the edges. So I went a bit nuts with the green in the curves transformation. And it actually made this all green, but then I just used the other curve, the blue, to take the green out and make it yellow. But I'll just run through this one. So once again, this is just stretched, star exterminated. Actually wasn't too, the resolution of the C11 with that, this is the one I dropped and smashed and I replaced the front corrector plate on.
It seems to affect telescope position.
This is it the,
In my experience,
I actually thought it might be cool to put like a 2x extender and use a planetary camera. And I mean, well, yeah, it looks like you wouldn't need to expose at a very, like a milliseconds or what, half a second.
My tries are under it.
Yeah.
it works fine now. You'll have the native
At f20. So you've tried it.
I'm pretty sure it will work on a Mac.
So I was thinking of the C11 with a 2x on.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Well, it's blown out.
Yeah, but even so, you can see the fact that it's a double barrel thing.
Yeah, it's not a star. And also, Star Exterminator didn't see it as a star because it left it there.
Left it, yeah.
It's taken everything else.
Yeah, it's good. Star Exterminator.
I think Blur Exterminator has to be the king, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Turns a $200 telescope into a Takahashi, doesn't it?
Certainly does wonders on my
I know on the RASA, in a few of the early images when it wasn't collimated, I had like actual donuts in the corner on one side, stretch stars on the other side, and they'll pinpoint in the middle, and I just Blur Exterminator, and they just all went ping.
Why
I know. Why? So this one doesn't actually look too flash. Now I've got to remember what I did. That's right, 03 boost. Too bright. Highlight. Yeah, okay. So it's just a matter of having a bit of a play around with it. I mean, you're not going to break anything or wreck anything. What I tend to do now is also, once I have cropped it, done all the exterminators, starless image, I'll actually save that initial image and the starless image to the folder. So then if I want to go back and have another do-over, I don't have to go through the cropping, the star exterminating, especially if you've spent a bit of time doing your background extraction, if you don't take flats. Yeah. Now, sometimes you can't actually get, if I brought a blue mask on there, it mightn't actually find any blue. So I've got a trick. We'll try it. Oh, it did find the blue. Oh, there you go.
So how do you get, what was the process, how you blurred it slightly there, you just dragged it?
I've actually got some pixel maths here. Or you could use, is it convolution? You could just use convolution and drop it on there and it'll blur it slightly.
Oh, okay.
But you can just, like, if I sent you these icons, I got these off Bill's website, and then I modified one to make it even stronger. I just gave it an extra 4 times. Sometimes I really want to blur something out so it doesn't leave any jaggies. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, right, so it's a closed script.
Right, so
it's sort of like pre-feathering.
yeah, well, if you create a mask, if you go in there, and you start doing any adjustments, you'll end up with some real hard edges, especially if you.
Sort of like feathering in Photoshop,
Yeah, it's feathering. Yeah, yeah, feathers. So we've put a blue mask on there, and I just use curves.
So you apply the mask like you apply any mask.
Yep.
And then you use curve strengths.
Yep. Don't touch the green. I think purple, green.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Go for it. If I was doing this at home, I'd be doing like probably a third that, just gradually. Although sometimes it's good just to drag it and go wild with it just to see what it'll do. Oh well, it's looking good, my screen, so that's what I'm going to go with. Go away, process console. And because all my icons are all over the place. Okay. Now, I think I had no good applying the seagull mask onto this one. Okay, so created a yellow mask. Yeah.
What did you pull over there?
A yellow one?
Yeah.
So there's a yellow on there. Yeah, so yeah, but if you wanted to,
So if you went in, you got a pixel.
if you went here, you could create your blue mask, and once you've created that, you can then drag the icon. Like if I create that, I think that'll work. Yeah, I did it before. Yeah, so once I've made that blue mask, I then saved it and I just put it as an icon on the desktop. But you can, and now, yeah, thanks, Eugene. That's the one. I don't want that. Okay. Right. Where was I? Yellow. Preview. That's what I wanted. Give a bit of colour back into there. And I think this is where I went mad with the green. Yeah. Mad. And then I applied a green mask. Can't apply a mask on a preview though. And you can't apply a mask when you've already got a mask on it. Sorry, people. Well, I could probably get away with the yellow mask there.
So is this just dual band image or is it?
Yeah, no, dual band.
Straight dual band or is it?
No, it's just HA03, dual band.
Oh, that's right.
You could actually remove I could actually just use the SCNR to knock that green out. Just add a bit of saturation maybe. Oh, that looks shocking, doesn't it, up there? Okay. It looks good here. Oh well. You think whatever I'm doing's rubbish. That's all right. That's basically that one done.
Certainly given that whole nebulous center elliptical bit.
Yeah. And you could probably even run lots of dark structure enhance to see what, sometimes I use it and sometimes I don't, depending on how, it might look right on here, but it might go completely horrible up there. Just get it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Do you use local histogram visualization at all? That's the other one. IG, that does the same thing.
Does it? Has that actually done anything? In the center?
Yeah, I think it just sort of
Increase
increased
the
the
density.
definition around those.
Yeah. Sometimes instead of that, I just like to, this is an Adam Block trick. In fact, I think he's got a great video out on the moment how to actually do RGB, LRGB. He's got a new process for it. Sometimes I'll just set the unsharp mask and that'll just give a little bit of, it almost does the same, but not quite to the extent.
What's that script for?
That was just the unsharp mask. But,
Is that in the,
yep. But what Adam Block suggested is you just crank both the deviation and the amount right up, and is it the standard deviation or whatever it is? These two sliders, and the amount right down. No, it applies it to the whole image. Oh, and sorry, the lightness, yeah. But you can, doing it that way, you can just keep doing it. It just does little, like if I zoom back into there.
That's a more subtle way.
Does seem to have a delay between the mouse and the, right. So if you just look in the center there, you can just see those couple of little increments. Went from there. It's just subtle. Where am I? Go back to this. Right. So getting back to the SHO images, the show image. I know 4 ways of combining a show image. You can colorize each channel. So you take the black and white and you actually colorize it into the colors you want and combine it. You combine each channel after stretching, which is the method I prefer, because I can really crank up the sulfur, which is the weakest of the channels. And when you think about it, your narrowband image, you want all the signals to be roughly equivalent. If you haven't got it, then you're going to end up with green or blue. You're only using, so say you shoot a target with no sulfur and you throw that channel in, you're contributing nothing on one channel. So it'd be like an RGB image throwing away the red or the blue or the green. So I believe probably does the same thing, but you probably shoot some targets HOO and some SHO, depending on the strength of the sulfur signal. No. Yeah. Yeah. I know the Seagull Nebula looks actually horrible in HOO because I tried it. It's just red and blue. Yeah, yeah. I know I shot a long time on the Pencil Nebula and there was hardly any sulfur in that. And I ended up discarding it because it just didn't, unless there was some way of adding that slight bit of sulfur into one of the other channels using pixel math somehow, or subtracting it just to give that bit of boost or contrast, I don't know. And there's Adam Block and another gentleman have put together an MB color mapping script. That's another way of combining them in non-linear form. So you can actually assign a color to each of the SHO channels before you combine them. And it's similar to the colorizing each channel, except the colorizing each channel, you actually got to stretch and colorize. And then there's the normal way of doing it where you just combine them in linear form and then you use your linear fit on your weakest channel. So I'll just, and there's just some examples. I just adjusted some of the strength of the sulfur channel before combining. This is mono camera, 3 filters, and I've just played around with the sulfur. So where you find the sulfur overlaps the blue, you'll end up with a purple color when there's very limited amount of HA there. So if you emphasize the sulfur, you can get some nice purple colors in there if you like purple. I think my favorite was either the first or second image when I fiddled with it. My wife liked the end one because she likes purple. Yes, that's the way I like playing around with. I'll just. Let's open up. No, not that one. That one. Right. This is the first image I actually took with the spree. And they all look useless. What do? I don't know. Help, Eugene. Ah, that's what happens when you open up a flat. It's the pressure of working to a crowd. Master flat, that one. You can see here too, I actually gave the sulfur 480 seconds per sub, and the other 2 channels only gave 300 seconds. So lately I've really been hitting the sulfur. In fact, one of the other images I think I took, I nearly doubled the sulfur. I gave it 8 minutes, and the hydrogen like 4 minutes. Yep, off-axis guider. If you're going to shoot SHO images, sulfur's the key. It really is. If you don't know that sulfur channel,
But it's always the weakest.
yep, it's always the weakest, and I'll show you. I can't stand it being upside down. The dragons have got to be the right way up.
Yeah.
I can't look at them or edit them until they're the right way up. The trouble is you don't really know if you're just using your stretch, you can't really tell what the weakest one is. So that's the hydrogen looks the best. Okay, now I know. Now I know what to do. So I'll just undo everything I did. So I was just going to show, undo that. And I can't find anything. Screen transfer function. That's the hydrogen. Right, hydrogen. Go away. No. Why isn't this working? Somebody should be able to just drag that there and
Yeah,
it'll.
onto that.
Coming up with the icon. Oh, it's because it's already. Because it's already. Well, that's going to wreck my example then, isn't it? So I was going to stretch the other two. No, I'm spitting the dummy. Start again. Then I won't be able to find any tools. Go away. Yeah, yeah. At least I think I want it. But you've got me doubting myself now, Lee. Right. Right. I know what I want to do. They're all my. Can't bring them up. Just play nice for me for just 1 minute. I'm going to bring the images over to the icons. There. That's better. Now I can't find my. Let's try it again. Screen transfer function. I do. Thank you, Lee. I knew I was doing something wrong. It's the pressure of a crowd. Yes. Now we're talking. Okay. Now you can see the actual signal when it's equal, how much sulfur and oxygen we actually got. Yep. Yep. So you can see how much stronger the hydrogen is. So if we would just combine them, like if take them back to no. That one. Let's rename it and make it easy. There is a method to my madness. This is where it'll tell me I haven't named something right. Doesn't that look good? So what you can do is then we're going to use linear fit, and I'm going to pick the sulfur being the weakest channel. I hope this works. Process. All processes. Up on L. Right. Reference image will be the sulfur. So I'm going to make the hydrogen. Yep. No idea.
Oh, sorry. No idea.
No idea. You do it the other way? Well, the way I looked at it, I thought if you're going to combine them and stretch them and combine them. This might look. Right. So now we've balanced the channels. Stars look horrible, but the colours of the nebula are getting there. Right. So these ones have all had the stars removed, and I've stretched them. And you notice I've gone to town on the oxygen. I've adjusted the contrast. So that's the sulfur now. Just using curves transformation. No, I just removed the stars from each of the SHO images. Did the blur exterminator, noise exterminator, and then I've just stretched them using. Well, I think one of them I might have just used the easy stretch, and then I use curves just to make them a bit more contrasty and just start boosting different parts of the colour. I just eyeballed it. I eyeballed it. And you can always drop it down, but Now if I combine, so this is the preferred way I like to put them together. So there's my base starting image now.
That's combined with the colorized.
No, let's just combine them.
It's the process of building it.
I haven't, it hasn't been processed at all.
Oh, where's the colour come from?
It's just from the 3 different filters.
Oh, okay.
So if I was to, like the sulfur being the weaker channel, if I drop that down, and then we do it again.
That's an interesting
Yeah. Actually, if you look at the pillars of creation and you take it in sulfur, I think that gives you one of the clearest views of it. So now, decreasing that sulfur channel, we're introducing green. See the, you can see the difference. So that sulfur channel is just so important to get boosted, whether you do it by taking longer exposures, more subframes, and then really push it. Yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, most people then just drop the green on, but I find that you just get so much more colour and just depth by. But I had to have the signal there to push it. I mean, that's not too bad. I mean, if you haven't got the signal there, you can't stretch it.
That's where that cluster 619 is on it there, or just above it. Fantastic part of the sky.
So with this one, I just do the normal. I just apply like a blue mask and but this has got it. I find this gets the image so close to finished. You're done in no time at all. Before, when I used to try and combine them non-stretched, I'd be mucking around. I'd be getting rid of I'd be inverting the image, removing purple, removing the green.
So when you've got that there, red, green, blue, do the colour, colour saturation, all that sort of stuff. What do you do then?
I just use the curves.
Just use curves.
Yep. My main tool in all my workflows just use the curves, so you can bring that blue up to a nice blue. Yeah. Yeah. Like reducing red will increase the. I mean how blue do you want it?
Yeah.
And then I just bit hard when you've got it nearly this balanced, because there's really not a lot of yellow. There's some red in there as well, but normally that yellow mask picks up most of it. You could make the mask yourself and then encompass red and yellow from that circle. You could choose to where did my mask blue go? There it is. But I mean, that gives that a nice glow under there. I don't know what it's looking like up on the screen, but bit of contrast to the green curve, sort of. Take the mask off and then maybe make it a little bit brighter. And I mean, I'd say that's basically nearly done. then we can add this. Did I open this? There's another trick too. Our good mate Sasha at View into Space. Is that his name, Eugene? View into Space, the German guy.
Oh, yes, yeah. One who always comes out with the latest.
Yeah, yeah. But he's got the fireplace behind him going these days. See, I actually I've got this little formula put out, and you can actually make your RGB stars from the SHO image. So there's the different, I think the red's a bit of H and sulfur, hydrogen sulfur. The green channel's a bit of hydrogen sulfur in different quantities, and the blue's just oxygen. But the script actually works quite well. And these are the, and then the way we first combined that image, the horrible green one, so all the frames were equally stretched. That's what you use to drop this on, and it'll turn it into a bit like an RGB image. And then you run your photometric color calibration on the stars and remove the stars, and it gets it almost spot on. Unless you, like if you, for some reason you haven't taken your RGB stars with the SHO image. I mean, I think I let this run all night, so it went from like 8 o'clock through to 6 in the morning while I slept. So if we put, what am I starting? Right. Yep. Done. That's the finished image. Yeah, I'm basically done. Yeah, unless anyone's got any if anyone wants to ask any questions.
No, they're just happy to.
So I think if you're doing SHO, I think stretching the separate channels and combining is the ticket. At least that's what I've done for all the last ones I've taken, and yeah, well, I had two. I just sort of came up with this technique in the last couple of months. So,
One step.
Oh, this is one step. Slightly better, isn't it?
what's it look like up there? Shocking, does it? It's washed out, isn't it? This doesn't have to.
That's a nice printable one for a wall there.
So it's gone magenta or something, hasn't it? That's shocking.
It's not a calibrated screen.
That's, anyway.
None of us are like that screen. It's just always producing one extreme or another. But gee, that looks fantastic.
Yeah, so you can see how with the one-shot color camera you can get close approximation to SHO. I wouldn't say it's HOO, it's definitely SHO, especially if you choose your target.
Yeah.
So Eugene, you should give that a go on your seagull shot now. Yeah, but the tools now. Yep. 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 The amount of things I probably would have thrown out, and I kept.
I'm not even
Yeah.
saving
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah. Yeah. But when you think some of those old subs and now Blue Exterminator just fixed them.
Yeah, it takes a few seconds. We can always strive to get data.
Yeah. But in the beginning, like that RASA, that was the bane of my. I reckon for 12 months I battled with that thing, And everyone was saying, don't touch it, it's collimated in the factory, you'll wreck it, you'll never get it back the same. And then some guy on an American guy that owned 2 Rasa 11s said, collimate it. I collimated it. It just transformed it. It was so far off, and I reckon the guys in the Skywatcher factory employed gorillas. Because the clear filter in the front, I actually had to buy a tool to get that out, and that made a crack. When I finally loosened it, they said, oh, it's finger tight. I actually had to get one of those 2-pronged lens tools. And then the screws to collimate it, I nearly stripped one because they were wound that tight. I had to go for the bigger hex screws, and that cracked.
So it left the factory naked.
Yeah, it was just wound up so tight. I thought when I loosened it off and it went crack, the corrector had gone. That's what the noise it made.
It's a horrible sound.
That's the full collimation of those factories.
Yeah.
Pretty common vein on
Yeah.
Cloudy Night.
Yeah. Even the Skywatcher Magnute 190, the collimation was out. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've knocked the C11 off a bench, so I know what that sounds like. I know. Yeah. Anyway, all good.
That's fantastic.
Well done.
We'll shut that down.
the night of the aurora. It was a shocking night. Can we have the lights off up there, guys? Yeah. Now, um, are we going to wait for this to load? I wanted to show you this first of all, if it loads. Now, right. Okay. So I could not. It was shocking. This thing had all manner of blotches and stuff all over it because of the aurora. In fact, it was green. And so what I did was, I I started to I processed it. God, that looks horrible over there. That looks shocking. Good grief! It looks a lot better than that, I can tell you. Anyway, this has got spiral arms. That's got none. Anyway, I was astounded that I had anything at all because the sky was like 3 full moons, and it was really bright. But I was really pleased I got M83. That's only 59 minutes of luminance, but I don't think you can see much there. So hang on, let me go back here. What I wanted to show you was, for those of you never seen, this was my original starry, my chicken, running chicken, and then I oh sorry, no, wrong one. Back to the chicken. Oh, that's a jellyfish. Sorry, I'm doing this the wrong way. Here we go. Yes. Oh, you can see a dragon. Oh, man. So, Greg was talking about those sulfur, hydrogen, oxygen things. So, I translated the chicken into, again, that looks terrible. That's really horrible. That's way too contrasty. But the chicken, I was amazed at the detail. You can see some of it here, but not much because that's a horrible view of it. And this is bluer here than it is there. That's all washed out here, but it's not on this. There's a lot of blue. This was I love the change going from the red to the it's HOO script 4, I think. Bill Blanch in script 4, and I was really pleased with what happened to that. And there, oh god, that looks horrible. I don't know why it looks like that, but the starless image had a lot of detail in it. That looks terrible. Now, this is what you did to this, Greg. Now, Greg got this. He took my original master light and he of the Vela Supernova remnant, and he boosted it all, and he got all these beautiful bits that I didn't get because he's better at processing. And I've got mine there, which doesn't look. Hang on, there's my contrast. Oh my God, that looks horrible up there. I did a different job, but I just wanted to show the difference between someone who knows what they're doing and someone who doesn't. And the last thing, if I can find it, no, I won't show the rest. Don't need to show those. I'm still working on the cone. I've had trouble with the cone nebula. I didn't have enough data really, and it's a horrible. It's not a very good image, but anyway. But it was the chicken I wanted to show you. But that TV, or that monitor, is horrible. How come your thing looks so good on it? My cone nebula just. This is the thing that needs 5 hours, not 45 minutes. But, oh, I'm a bit miffed by it all really. But the jellyfish I did ages ago. I don't know if any of you saw that. I did different versions, but again, that was only 30 minutes instead of 2 or 3 hours. But that's a really interesting object, which I hope to do again. I think it's in Gemini from memory. Yeah, anyway, that's all I wanted to show you, just a couple of things. But that palette, that translation of that palette, that script is really good. And when you see it on your monitor, not on there, it's very pretty with the lovely detail. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to show you. Where is that? Is that in the set? Oh, here it is. Sorry. Anyway, I'd be interested to see your eclipse shots. Have you got any?
You have to wait.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. You my friend.
Is your Durga boat? It's a JPEG, transition number somewhere. Must be down further. Maybe. I'll find it. Sorry about this. Yeah. I should be able to just search, shouldn't I? Oh, Jesus. Where the hell is it? Oh, okay. Sorry. JPEG file. Hey? I don't know. Sorry, I can't find it. Yeah, I'll better get somebody else to do it. Yeah, it must be there. So I'm sure I put it on there. Hey? It's a JPEG. Grey man.
MGC 3199
No,
banana.
no, no. Oh, that'll do. One of those will do. Try that one. Yeah, that'll do. Just to illustrate, I had a picture of the tarantula never, which is really good. I got it on my phone, but I really understand what you guys are doing with your processing, but I sort of used to do that years ago. This is a different way of doing things. Just bear with me. I went through I found this guy on the internet called John Rister. Have you heard of him? Some of you would have. He's on the internet. It's a johnrister.com. I think he's French or German or something like that, but he does a lot of nature photography as well. But he's really into astrophotography. And he has a whole series of stuff on there which is really well done. And it got me thinking, and what my goals are now is more towards the science end rather than the art end or pretty pictures end, if you like. And what I'm trying to do is produce an image that is as natural as possible, if you know it, if you can understand what that means. Now, they're not perfect. I know they're not perfect. The stars aren't round and they're not clean and all that sort of stuff. But the way I took that image is interesting too, because it was taken at zero gain and I can't remember exactly, but I think it was something like about 10 images, 8 or 10 images, around about probably that one there, I don't know, 8 or 10 minutes or something like that. Quite long exposures, but not many of them. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to gather pixels, as many as I can. That's my aim, right? But to gather as many as I can. And the way things are these days, CMOS cameras are pretty low noise. They're pretty damn good. So you don't need, from my point of view, you don't need hundreds or 50 or more images to get a low noise image. You don't need it. And as I was talking to Dallas here a while ago, noise is there. From my point of view, noise is always there. As soon as you start doing noise reduction, you're combining pixels and you're smoothing things out. And that's what and you lose detail. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but there's thousands of bloody stars and there's noise there, but all those little, that spot there, 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 they're all stars. They're all stars. I haven't taken stars out or anything. I've left them all in there and they're all stars. You can see them. I mean, they're not round. I know they're not round, but that's the way it is. I don't use reducers or anything. But those little blobs that you see there are all stars, and they should be there. No, I don't. I leave everything in there. I would go through my work. So my process that I use is about 8 to 10 images is about normal. I generally take contemporary flats and dark flats. I've got a dark library for each length of exposure.
It's a beautiful object, and it will benefit from more subs.
Well, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but more subs means, all that means is you're stacking more. Now, where you stack more, all you're doing is averaging. You're not adding, you're averaging. You're not adding, you're averaging. That's what happens. So each one of those little pixels, which you can't see, but each one of those little pixels, you're averaging them. And when you average a bright pixel, and it's always there, the average of 1 and 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 1 is 1. But if you've got noise and the average is 1 and 0.1 and 0.2 and 0.3, you average it, it's lower than 1, so it knocks the noise down. And that's what you're doing. But you have to realise when you're integrating or stacking, you're averaging. You're not adding, you're averaging, right? So what my workflow... Well, I believe if the pixel's coming from outer space 160 million light years away, sorry? Oh, sorry, photons, yeah, photons coming in from 160 million light years away, coming down my telescope. I don't want to waste it, right? I want to know it's there. That's my point. So what I do, I come up with this process, and this is based on John Rister, sort of. There's a couple of things now I'm a bit dicky about, but anyway. I create a project, fixing type project. You know what that is? It organises your data. I still haven't worked out how to use it properly. But anyway, I do a blink. I blink the subs, and I got right here. I got blinked. Get rid of the rubbish, and that's my point. I get rid of all the splots in it, or a star trail, or I just chuck it out. I just forget about it. Chuck it out. Get rid of it. Not used to me. Then I do the WBP script. You're all familiar with that, which combines and integrates and all the rest of it, and you can do all that. Then I do a background neutralisation. I don't really know whether you need that. It evens out the background a little bit and reduces a bit of light pollution. So if you've got discrepancies in your camera or your scope or your imaging system, it sort of evens it out a little bit. I don't know if you really need that, but anyway. And then I do a channel extraction. This is dual band, by the way, dual band colour. I do a channel extraction, so I extract the red, green and blue channels from what I've got. I'm using a ZWO cheap bloody HAS03, is it? HAS3? SHA03, I think it is. Yeah. So I extract the channels under that. So they're all going to be different levels, of course. And then you do what's called a noise evaluation, and there's a script in PixInsight. And what that does is it measures the noise of each channel, and you choose the lowest noise channel that's of the 3 to actually use that to do the next step, which is a linear fit. And what linear fit does, it evens up the channels. This is what Greg was doing before, similar thing. Evens up the channels. So if you've got a weak S2 channel, which they always are weak, but it evens them up. It makes it even. Even though it might be dimmer, it still evens it up in proportion as it's supposed to be. So you do a noise evaluation, you do a linear fit, and then I crop, get rid of all the artifacts around the outside. That's pretty good. So you'll find when you stack images, you're going to get little artifacts around here. You can get rid of all that. That's pretty good. And then I do a dynamic crop or crop. then I combine the channels using pixel maths. So you actually, the program that I've been using, red equals red, green equals green times 0.065 plus red times 0.035, and blue equals green times 0.8 plus red times 0.2. That's just a mathematical formula that somebody's come up with. You can change that to make it different. And then once you've done the pixel maths, you've actually created those RGB channels. And then what I do a photometric calibration from a scientific database, which is available in PixInsight. You can point to a number of them. I think I use one in France or something, doesn't matter what it is. And what that does, it gives me it knows where it's looking, that image from the FITS header, but it knows what colors all these stars and images and things are supposed to be. What color it is, right? Not intensity, color is a difference, right? Color. So you've done the photometric color calibration. Now do a dynamic background extraction, optional, just to get rid of the noise. I don't do that very often. And then after I've done that, everything's still linear. And then I just do a straight screen transfer function, which is a stretch, right? Now the stretch function is very interesting. The stretch function, you have a black point, I think black point's on the left, is it? And the white point on the right, and a mid-tone in the middle. If you move that mid-tone, you immediately make your data non-linear, right? That's not as we've tried to do with the photometric calibration. It changes it. So all I do is I get I think it's the right-hand one, which is the white point. I just gradually move it back, and you end up with a black image, and you gradually move it back, and things start to appear. And I say, wow, there's some stars, and I just keep on moving it back and moving it back, moving it back until I'm happy with it, and I'll leave it there. Now, the sky isn't black, so my image, this one's fairly black. It's not as good as the other one I was going to show you, but you can see I've tried to keep anything limited. It's very sort of natural sort of colour. You can see the nebulosity in there, still there. So I just knock that back, and once I'm happy with what I'm looking at, and it's as linear as I think it's going to be, I then just grab hold of the screen transfer function icon, drag it onto the histogram transformation like we did before, and it freezes it. And that's it. End of story. And that's what you get. So it's different. I know it's different. I can appreciate you're going to say, oh, the stars aren't round, and which is fair enough. But look at there's a colour there. There's a coloured star there. These are all natural colours. I haven't changed anything. I've just used photometric calibration, which is the colours that they're supposed to be. That's a shit image, isn't it?
Do you use SPCC or just PCC?
Generally the photometric calibration, yeah. Yeah. Yes, yeah. Well, photometric calibration uses the FITS header, and it tells the database where to look. That's what's good about it. So that's what I do. That's just a basic. So as you can see, I'm not an image processor, so I'm more of a science sort of person, I suppose. I don't know, but you can see I try to see what's there rather than make a nice picture, if you know what I mean. I'm not being. Please don't take this as a negative comment. I understand where everybody's coming from, and everybody has their own personal preferences. That's just my personal preference. I like to know it's there. That's just the way I am. I used to do this other stuff. I did, and it was great fun. But I came across this guy, and it sort of appealed to me a bit, and that's where I am. The transfer nebula is a really good one because it shows a lot of nebulosity and stuff that you don't normally see when you process it. But that you can get the idea. You can see the nebulosity is still in there. I know it's noisy. Look at the noise in there. Look. But hey, it's there. I can't do anything about that. Well, I can get rid of it, but it'll change the image. All those things there, as far as I can possibly do, is just photons coming down, hitting my sensor. And that's what I try to do. So I'll go home now. sorry I couldn't find the right image. I'll see if we're going to another go. Hang on, just have a quick look.
I've only got one of these, super quick.
Yeah, I've only got the one. I'm sure I put it on there. I must have done. Oh, bugger. I've got to fix on my phone if I look at it. Yeah. No worries. Okay. Thank you.
Should only be the So that's it. That's my image. So I've just started doing some narrowband imaging. It's about 15 hours. I can't remember exactly how many. Processed as HOO. Better help, thank you, Greg. It's not quite finished and it doesn't look great up on the big monitor, but I am happy, semi-happy with it. I like how you can see all the oxygen in that outer shell. So that's the Dragon Z egg, NGC 6164.
Which narrowband filters?
I got the Ampere 3 nanometers, so they're narrow, and I'm imaging with the edge, 8-inch edge, so it's slow, which is why I've got so much data on it.
How much
Yeah.
data's on that?
About 15 hours. Yeah, but I did have less in sulfur. I gave up in the end because I couldn't get clear skies. So I thought I'd just process what I've got. Yeah. But yeah, process is HOO.
I don't know if you want more,
Yeah.
with the salt down.
Anyway,
With
yeah.
waste of time.
Yeah, yeah, but it's all learning a new way of doing things.
No,
So
it's
yeah. Okay.
Is that cropped or is it?
No, it's like a 533. I mean, I would have just taken the edges off, just the rubbish on the edges. But no, it's hard to
You have
crop.
to turn the laptop screen around. So
Um,
the laptop.
I don't know if you've seen it. Oh.
You take it at the making length at 200,000 millimeters.
With the reducer,
With the reducer.
Yeah. the 0.7. Yeah, yeah, it's a 1-inch square sensor. Yeah. Anyway, that's me. Nice and quick. You check or can't? You're close. Oh, yeah. I was doing 16. So.
Come on. Clips.
Sorry?
Clips.
Yeah, we want to see your clips.
You've been right there.
Sorry? I am right here, yeah. I was going to do I thought it'd probably be worth doing a presentation at some point on the clips and capturing the processing and processing. Yes, I thought maybe I could save that up and great presentation.
That's a promise.
Yes. You also got the images. I've got a few here. Yeah, we've got comments, so yeah.
So Lee, will you just say whether your trip was successful, whether you...
Yes, it was successful. I did see the eclipse.
And you enjoyed yourself?
Yes.
Did you use a filter on your stuff? Did you use a Daystar or did you use a Coronado or?
So there's a white light filter for the partial phases,
Oh,
and
right.
then however you take it off.
Have you seen one before?
No. Looks absolutely amazing.
Fortunate enough to see one in
If you get the opportunity,
the 28, so it's
2028.
I watched the live stream from the States. It was good
2028, there's plenty, there's going to be plenty of opportunity because it goes right across here. So these are, these are my 5 to 10 minute EAA, electronically assisted observations, rather than images. So if I open these up, I really struggle to get ponds booked. I just could not get a clear night where I had availability. And it's a bit noisy and you can't really see all the tail and that, but the tail's there on this one, but it's, so I've been spending a bit of time actually with trying to reconfigure my bigger scope, 140mm. It's working really well, reduced to 560mm focal length, gives a nice wide field of view. But I've also been experimenting at the native 800mm focal length, just to see what I can do with chasing galaxies. Only 5 minutes time here, remember, these are short stacks, so they're noisy, as Bruce was talking about. We all recognise those two galaxies. So I'd like to chase a whole lot of the ARP galaxies and observe the ARP peculiar galaxies. This is the famous one, of course, the antenna galaxies. I don't know what's visible on the screen. Is a hint of the tails visible? Yeah, so at least I've observed them. It's much better, much clearer here. Oh, crikey, doesn't that make a bit of a change, doesn't it? Oh. Well, that looks like this. It looks like a hamburger here. I don't know why it's done that. Fairly worthwhile looking at. I shouldn't show that. Again, that's an M83, a traditional M83. Oh, well done. Sorry, we're probably. Let's see. It's come out down there, is it? There it is. Right. Where are we? We've got a loose connection. We've got a loose connection right here. Or maybe it's the USB hub. Don't move. The interesting thing for me, you won't be able to see it in this, but if you do some annotation checks, there's quite there's another galaxy there too. But picking up the other, for me, it's observing and picking up other detail in galaxies that are in the same field of view. Crikeys. Sorry, but again, there's a traditional. That's a bit way overblown too. Here's an experiment. Here's why I'm trying my 140mm refractor. That's a 100mm refractor at the same focal length, but double the image time. So you can just see the effect of that's totally the effect of aperture. Virtually twice the aperture, so collecting twice the data in just the same amount of time. Oh, there's my, you'd recognise that star field, and that's the supernova CGI, whatever it is. I'll revisit that in another month's time just to see if it's dimmed or whatever. Yeah, so they're mine. Yeah, that's all I've got. That's it, yeah.
Anyone else got any images I want to show quickly for a minute or so? Oh, you found it? You'll have to hand it around. Okay, well, thanks everyone for coming. Thanks very much, Greg, for doing that presentation.
I just want to remind everyone next Tuesday, we're having Dr. Joelle Cilliers from, she's a researcher at UTAS, and we were out at Mount Pleasant one night, two ladies came out and had a look through the C14 and we just happened to find the supernova that Steve showed us. And we showed her a picture of it. We'd taken, so this supernova was only discovered on the 12th of April. And so we imaged it 2 weeks later. But she was standing there and I said, well, you want to give a talk about, because she studies supernovas. And she said, yeah, I'd love to give a talk to the Astrophotography Society. So she's coming along next Tuesday. And she says she'd like to start at